crying harder, crying harder. Trump is your president. Crying harder, crying harder. Trump is your president.
He's a nice guy, looks good. Hi, everybody. How you doing? He's got some strange hand action going. I don't know what the hell his problem is. It's a little weird, to be honest. There's a little something shaky going on there.
All right, stop for a sec. Stop. Yes. Yes, we support you. Yes.
Hey, the Democrats can pick Gavin Newsom as their nominee all they want. Nobody's voting for that shit. We watched this man run his state into hell. And you think we're going to give him the keys to the nation? And then there's this bill getting passed that's stripping away parents' rights. And he ain't doing nothing about it. In fact, he wants it to go through. This bill essentially allows John Doe weirdo to get an affidavit, sign it his damn self, and then to go pick up your kid from school. Allow them to make medical decisions on your child. I'm in South Carolina, and I'm reading about your bills that you're passing because you're going to become possibly a nominee for president of the United States. No.
Former migrant shelter director John Featherston. John, thanks so much for joining us, and thank you for speaking out. You know, people don't realize that's not easy to speak out the truth when other people, they don't want to hear it. You were just featured in the Daily Wire. You sounded the alarm. You've been sharing your experience about what you witnessed, widespread rape and violence in these shelters. Tell us, what happened and what was the result of it after you sounded the alarm?
Well, you know, here's the bottom line. My governor, Governor Maura Healey, has decided to protect criminals who have committed heinous crimes over vulnerable teenage girls. And, you know, a lot of people have said, you know, hey, that I'm the whistleblower on this. Well, a whistleblower has to identify something that nobody knows about. And the governor knew about this. The governor was aware of it. Local police authorities, the DA knows all about it. Is that, you know, a migrant admitted to Department of Children and Families that he commonly had sex with his daughter, and they removed the daughter from custody from him, thankfully, and hopefully she's in a better spot. But they had me transfer him to another shelter where I said, I can't do this. You're going to take a known rapist and put him in another shelter and give him an opportunity to potentially rape again? Do you think he's going to stop this type of behavior just because we transfer him? And the bottom line is that to the best of my knowledge and a lot of knowledge of the media, that this man is still walking the streets.
What? Out of the 300,000 children, I looked at the numbers just yesterday. We've located over 23,000 of them. So 23,000 locations of the 300,000. Well, President Trump's committed. We're not going to stop till we find every one of them, or at least, you know, run every lead down on those 300,000 children. That's a big plus for the administration, because the last administration wasn't even looking for them.
So a child rapist, they acknowledge they know this happened. She says it happens, and all they did was they just moved him to another shelter. Like the Laken Riley killer, he was right here in New York. He had been arrested for a crime, and instead of actually taking him into custody, let ICE do its thing, they just put him on a plane and sent him down to Georgia, where he then raped and killed Laken Riley. I mean, this is what keeps happening over and over again.
Hey, Trump, you need to bring the National Guards to Chicago, man. You got kids killing kids, man. That's not good, man. Washington, D.C. is not much going on compared to Chicago, man. I'm running. It's a war happening right now in Chicago, man. Hey, look, man. Look, go on the news, or go on Google, type Chicago. I'm going back home to Africa, man. I can't.
Earlier today in the Oval Office, Donald Trump looked at the assembled cameras and asked for me personally to say, Mr. President, can you do us the honor of protecting our city? Instead, I say, Mr. President, do not come to Chicago. You are neither wanted here nor needed here.
A few moments later.
In Chicago, everybody gotta get down. Everybody gotta get down because they shoot. Everybody down. Look, these kids are running. They shooting. We can't have no fun in Chicago, man. No fun, man. This is terrible. I'd have thrown a goddamn flag. Cause this y'all neighborhood.
This might be over with, because I gotta figure this out, man.
As the mayor of this city, I can tell you that Chicagoans are not calling for a military occupation.
Man, they talking about sending the National Guard to Chicago, man. I'm not gonna lie, this is scary. Send the Marines! Send the Navy! Get chop, bring everything! I want the Army, I want ROTC, I want OOS, I want the tribal chief, yeet! Yeah, cause Chicago is a hot goddamn mess. I work downtown. I do this every day. I see delinquency. I see violence. I see littering, pollution. I see filth. I see homelessness. I see suffering. Send the whole goddamn fleet. Chicago is hurting. We hurting.
They are calling for the same thing that we've been calling for some time, and that's investment. What safe cities across America all have in common, they invest in people.
They fixing up buildings they could have been fixed for us, for illegal immigrants to move in. They kicking us out, and it's like they doing it in mob ways. They just show up anytime they feel like it with the police. They taking your doors off your hinges, and they telling you gotta go. Either take this check or don't, and you gotta still leave.
What kind of check? What is your check?
Your check might be $500, it might be $1,000. That's not enough to move on. It's not enough to go nowhere.
I know.
Danny C. from Chicago Flips Red pulled up to 6952 South Paxton on June 24th, just one day before tenants are being forced out of their homes, not by choice, but by a city-backed condemnation order set to take effect tomorrow, June 25th. Inside these walls, families have endured mold, no heat, no water, and dangerous living conditions, all under the neglectful management of CKO Real Estate. Now the city of Chicago says it's time to go, but where's the justice? On June 11th, after canceling a previous meeting, Mayor Brandon Johnson finally showed up behind closed doors, no press, no transparency, just 20 tenants. They demanded building repairs, rent suspension, and real compensation, not the $2,500 hush money offered by the city and landlords. With the deadline now just hours away, residents are being displaced with little support, no relocation plan, and a whole lot of broken trust. Again, black and brown American citizens in Chicago get abused and neglected for years, but illegal immigrants get hotels, stipends, health care, and all the resources they need using our tax dollar. Illinois has proposed $3.5 billion in the 2026 budget for non-citizens, while American families live in squalor, and when the buildings finally get condemned, we don't get help, we get pushed out. This isn't just a housing issue, it's a housing crisis, and once again, it's black Chicagoans being pushed to the margins.
Boo-boo, she said she seen me before.
Yeah, she get a lot of haters, but she's always there. She's right here in my neighborhood right now looking after us and reaching out for us.
That's beautiful. I'm getting, look at this. Look at this. Now they putting illegals in. Yeah, they got illegals in great places, putting them in 5-star hotels and stuff. And look at this. These residents been complaining, period. But they won't come and help. Can I just...
You want to come see my apartment? Because my shit, my setting just like...
See?
Yeah, they doing a lot of places like this.
Yeah, I know.
If you working with them, I don't...
Oh, no, I'm not. Look, I want us to flip Chicago red. Yeah, all right. Look at this, y'all.
For 2 years.
For 2 years. You been complaining?
Yeah.
For 2 years. Mm-hmm. So she's been complaining for 2 years. Look at this. Look at how they got our people living, but they got illegals and housing them, giving them free everything, free housing, every 5-star. They living really good. And look how they got our residents.
You see?
Yeah, I see, and this is ridiculous. And then you all keep, this is what we are talking about. This is what they choose to spend their money with illegal aliens and not take care of the Chicago citizens and the Chicago residents. Oh no, look.
I don't sit right here and play with my life.
No,
like,
yeah, beautiful.
Is it? Like I mean my money. Risk of mold and everything. Yeah.
What as soon as you
stepping on the bathroom floor, you feel water squish from under the towels. Like you just know it's mold in there. There's gnats everywhere. They flying. Like
they spent over 600 million, probably billions, for illegal aliens to house them and give them free everything. They could do this, or they can make the landlord do something about this. Should nobody be even living? He shouldn't be able to collect rent or anything until he fix all this up. But y'all, but see, we allow this. We gotta stand
us
up.
Being black, we don't. People
gotta get more educated. Can I say?
We
and
don't
that's
go out. We don't protest for each other. We don't do none of that.
I know. That's why
we just sit here and just allow all things to happen to us, black people.
Right.
I said sometimes our ceilings just crumbling. They just falling like in our rooms, in our bedrooms, in our bathrooms. You just hear like the building just falling the fuck apart.
I know. And then look at this. Look at this. So they coming over today, yeah, but the money they giving y'all, where y'all gonna go?
Shit, I don't know. They fixing up buildings. They could have been fixed for us, for illegal immigrants to move in. They kicking us out, and it's like they doing it in mob ways. They just show up anytime they feel like it with the police. They taking your doors off your hinges, and they telling you gotta go. Either take this check or don't, and you gotta still leave.
What kind of check? What is the check?
Your check might be $500, it might be $1,000. That's not enough to move on. It's not enough to go nowhere.
I know. We're here trying to, so we're here helping the residents. I want to help the residents. I'm trying to see what's going on, because how is it that our citizens, Chicago citizens, black citizens, have to live like this and don't get no assistance and got to get put out? But you give illegal aliens everything, and then you tell them and you make sure they are fed, they are housed, they're living good. But this is how our Chicago residents, this is what you do to us. And this is not out of my mouth. You hear it out of her mouth. So we are going to, I'm going to get her number, and we are going to, you studying to be a paralegal?
Yeah, I'm studying to be a paralegal lawyer right now. I just wanted to know, realistically, because they only giving us a short period of time to move out of this building, and it's a lot of other ethnicities that just came to the city, like the Venezuelans, who's receiving more than enough help to, be at least substantial. All they're giving us is around $2,500. We have to figure out where we're going to stay permanently. It's really a conveyancing. Is it really a lie? Like, if I get a lawyer, like, because I got friends. I ain't gonna lie to you. I know a guy who know a guy, and we'll get it done. For real.
Break this one up. This building. So I want to see if I can talk to some residents over here who is staying over here. Yeah, I wanted to see if I was able to talk to someone because I heard it's really bad around here. How they living. So I guess they boarding things up over here. But I wanted to see some residents. Maybe talk to some residents and see how bad. And see how bad it was over here. I heard it was really bad. But okay. So we going to the next place. It look like they just boarding things up now. Yeah, so we going to the next. So this is what we have in our community. Slumlords, abandoned buildings, displaced residents. And this hits very, very hard because I grew up around here. A few buildings down on 68th and Paxton is where I grew up and had a lot of memories. So yes. This is disheartening.
The city of Chicago has been asking for federal troops to come here since at least the 1970s, based on the archives that I've read, for the exact same reasons, and that's because we can't get justice out of the Cook County courts. In the city of Chicago, if the police and the police department is doing a good job, shout out to CPD, they're not the problem. The problem happens in the Cook County State's Attorney's Office where they're pleading people and then the Cook County judges are letting them out of jail. They found 5 guys in the car last week with almost 90 rounds of ammunition. And one judge put them in jail. They went back to court the next week and she let everybody out. So now they can go and complete the hit that they got caught doing. It's not fair. But what? Yeah, they're not telling the truth. But I'm going to give you a scoop. I don't know if I've shared this with you, but about a month ago, I was at LaFollette Park, which is in the Austin community where both Brandon and I live. I was sitting there with a friend of mine. We were actually drinking juice out of these little cups that he bought for us. And the police drove past and said, no drinking in the park. Now, behind us is a massive soccer tournament going on. So I said, why aren't you back there talking to the people drinking the Modelo's? And he told me, we don't bother them. We try not to bother them because we know that if we arrest them, they'll get flagged in the system for immigration. And we don't want that for them. So they're not even counting the crime that the illegals are doing. Yes, I have a witness who can corroborate this story. They are cooking the books. And this is why we need someone independent of the Cook County judicial system to come in and give us justice, and that's Donald Trump and the federal government.
We need the federal resources to make sure that we're building more affordable housing, expanding mental and behavioral health care, education, all of these things that could reduce crime and provide real community safety.
Now, I've said this before. If you give me 3 meals, housing, child care, education, a voucher for $9,000, you know what? I come to Chicago too. And that's what they're doing. They're telling people and they're sending money back to back to Venezuela to come to Chicago because they're saying, hey, the good times are rolling there. They're taking care of everybody. Now, when we have Venezuelans that are driving cars, where did they get a driver's license? Where did they get insurance from? And then you have Venezuelans being caught with drugs and guns. Where are they getting them from?
I'm here at the City Hall located at Clark and Washington, but this is off of LaSalle. This is downtown Chicago. Here I'm with George, who is an ex-serviceman, the Marine. Tell me about your current situation, Job.
I'm on homeless, United States Marine Corps vet living on the street of Chicago with a service dog. But the problem is, I sat here 3 days ago. Got told by the sheriffs I had to move. I told them no, I was not. I was trying to exercise my Second Amendment right. I said, the city of Chicago is not house homeless people, service dogs. or homeless people, wheelchair with service dogs, which I have someone that can vouch for it. What 311 has told us on Michigan Avenue, they said they could not help us due because me, because my service dog and my friend, because she was wheelchair bound with a service dog.
So you telling me that there's no accessibility for people with service dogs or disabilities in the housing?
Nope.
And how long have you been dealing with this, Jobs?
I've been dealing with this almost 5 years now. And the Venezuelans get $10,000 a day or a month on a debit card from the mayor's office. Why can't he help us? I actually bought and saved money up, bought a tent where I was sleeping on the beach on Monroe Harbor. When I was doing that, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm telling you the truth. They stole my tent. They gave me 7 days. Day 3 is when they automatically gave me a tent or stole my tent. They didn't give me my whole 7 days.
Well, Jobs, prayerfully, this makes it to Byron C. Joe Lopez, who is the head of housing, chairman of housing. And Jobs, if and when I see you again, my name is Taiwan Sims. I will.
I've been on the housing list through Light Ministries and Haymarket as well.
Don't worry. So next time I see you, prayerfully, Jobs, you will be willing to come in and speak with Byron C. Joe Lopez, whatever meeting it is, and express to these people why an American serviceman, a Marine, this man is a Marine, is sleeping in front of the City Hall in downtown Chicago. Thank you, Jobs. I'm sorry that you're going through this. Thank you for your service, sir.
This is at the public aid offices on the south side of Chicago and the west side of Chicago. This is in Chicago. Now, the Democratic Party and the fake news media told you that these people, these illegal aliens, that they were not getting any Medicaid, food stamps, any free services. Look at this. Look at this, 7 to 30 in the morning, 9 a.m. in the morning, all night. What if you were a Chicago citizen and you just lost your job, or you fell on hard times and you needed some help and you've been working all your life, and then you go down to your public aid office and you see this? And you see people who have not paid a dime into the system in the line, and you had to go 5 blocks down to wait in line to get some assistance for you and your kids. Look at this.
Is really startling. 30% of migrants here in Chicago are children. Majority of them are attending Chicago public schools. Right now, the state is footing the bill for what they call temporary housing, apartments and homes that are rented out for migrants. The state is paying on the high end $9,000 in rental assistance over a 6-month period of time. With that comes help moving in and a starter kit to furnish the apartment.
That rent lasts for 6 months, and ideally people would have started their legal process, secured legal work authorization, and then be able to sustain that apartment. And so the cost, or I guess the payment towards the landlord, is based on market rate. It's based on the configuration of the apartment, how many rooms, where it's located, all of those things. And so it kind of varies from place to place.
We ran out of time, but I did reach out to the city to see how many asylum seekers are currently taking advantage of the rental assistance program. We haven't heard back from the city on that. The city put $4 million towards helping migrants get temporary housing. The state added $38 million to that. And right now, there are only 30 to 40 case management workers from Catholic Charities working to get thousands of migrants temporary housing. And I'm told there's a push to hire more. Scott?
Is your city boring? Too clean? Too safe? Why not take a vacation to beautiful Southern California? Whether you're being assaulted by our drug-addicted vagrants walking down Hollywood Boulevard, or you're just taking a minute to enjoy the scenery of used needles, trash, and human waste, Southern California is the ultimate destination for cultural enrichment. Why not see what awaits you under future President Gavin Newsom? Come visit SoCal today and see what everyone is talking about.
Okay friends, so today we're doing a field trip
I'm going to show you around the back of my house, show you why I want out of California so bad. And here's a fun fact. You see that basket on my porch? Well, I had to buy another one because somebody stole it off my porch. So now that one is zip tied to my porch. You literally can't have anything nice here. They take everything. So I live in the Los Angeles County area in a beach town. It's where I grew up. I was born and raised here. It's a nice neighborhood, but there are no more nice neighborhoods here in California because it's just full of crime and lawlessness. Last night, about 10 p.m., we heard a drive-by shooting out here. I don't know what they hit, who they were aiming at, but we heard shots going literally right in front of my house. Like, you could tell that they were driving as they were shooting because you could hear it, the volume change. And that happened last night. We hear gunshots all the time. We have the police helicopter up every night. It's just crazy. So last year sometime I was going to pick up my trash cans and I heard something jingling around one of them. So I opened it up and there was a 9mm in there, okay? And the clip was almost full. It had 3 missing rounds and it was dumped into my trash can. So of course I called the police. They came and got it. But yeah, stuff like that happens all the time. So this is part of my alley. I'm always finding needles out here. So people sit here in the shade and they shoot up. Okay, so I'm super happy to see this. I'm gonna go ahead and post a picture right here. But the Dodge City Crips, they had graffitied this whole wall. I just saw that it was cleaned up. I think it was cleaned up today sometime. But it was probably like 2 feet tall, the lettering, and it was all over. They tagged. But it looks like they painted, which is great. This happens so often in Los Angeles, well, I think California. You can't have anything nice. They tag everything. If you call 311, that's for the city, and one of the services they do is graffiti cleanup. And they have people who've been caught doing graffiti, cleaning it up, which I think is perfect. So that's the end of the tour. I was going to show you the graffiti, but thankfully the city got rid of it for me, which is great. So I'm going to grab my trash can and I'm done for the day.
How do you feel about the current state in California and the homeless problem that you have going on here?
Every month it's increasing. They say the numbers of homeless are going down. I don't believe it's not possible. They created a sanctuary state and a sanctuary city in LA. It means that more people come here not only for free healthcare but also for no prosecutions on crime. So the illegals that come here, they don't need a fair prosecution. So of course homeless situation is increasing. You have the murder rate going up. I lived in Encino for 30 years. We had 12 murders last 4 years. Neighbors within a mile and a half got murdered. One 99-year-old man got chopped to pieces by a machete lunatic. And it's just increasing everywhere. Robberies. You see zombies on Ventura Boulevard, all along Ventura Boulevard. You see zombies sitting at bus stations, lying in the street, dancing naked in the street. It's increasing every month for the last 4 years. So it's really crazy. And of course, we as taxpayers, we don't get the sanctuary from crime. But the criminal aliens, they get the sanctuary. So it's a really bizarre situation here.
What's up, America? Let's say for just a moment that I was going to sneak into Mexico illegally, demand welfare from their taxpayers, burn the Mexican flag, riot and protest in their streets, and then call them all fascist when they try to stop me. That is exactly what's happening right here in our nation over in LA. You cannot sneak into America illegally, burn down our cities, stomp on our flag, and wave your flag, calling all of us fascists when we try to stop you. This shouldn't be a controversial take to have. This should be a bipartisan effort to say, deport every single one of them. And as for the Democrats politically, there's no coming back for this. They are actively defending this breathlessly night after night, calling it mostly peaceful because they hate Trump so much and are grasping at something, anything to blame on him. Does this image look mostly peaceful to you? This image perfectly encapsulates the modern day left. There is no winning the midterms after this ad gold.
Hi, this is Senator Alex Babiak here in Boyle Heights, just outside of downtown Los Angeles, in one of LA's most iconic, historic, and vibrant neighborhoods typically. But ever since Trump's ICE raids really began in earnest in early June, you've seen not just a drop in foot traffic, pedestrian activity here in the community, but all the business owners here have seen a significant drop in business. A lot of their customers too afraid to come out and shop, too afraid to come out and eat, like it's a cheese by the oro here in Boyle Heights. So for folks who are wondering what they can do to push back, what they can do to counter this Trump crackdown, you can protest with your wallet. Come support a small business, immigrant-owned business in these diverse communities as part of our pushback.
Why were there raids? You know, we had been told that he was going to go after violent criminals. It wasn't a drug den. It was a Home Depot. It was places where people are working. So what was the point of doing this? And then knowing that in a city like Los Angeles, and we had talked about this for a long time, that has a very sophisticated long-term immigrant rights organizations and institutions, that if these random raids were going to happen, then there was going to be the danger of a backlash.
So hey, Donald Trump, don't enforce federal law because some people might get mad and there might be some backlash. We gotta make everybody happy. This is pathetic. And the California Democrats in this situation are so manipulative. It's pitiful. So here's the thing. They're not cooperating with ICE, for one. So what does that mean? Let me explain to you how things would typically work when local government is working with the federal government. Typically, local law enforcement notices ICE when an illegal immigrant is arrested and in custody. If that person has a deportation order or a criminal record, ICE can pick them up cleanly from jail before they're even released. It's safe, quiet, and controlled, and it keeps violent offenders from coming back into the population. But in sanctuary states like California, local officials refuse to cooperate with ICE. They don't notify ICE when an illegal immigrant is about to be released. Sometimes they even try to keep ICE from entering jails. So when that person is released, the feds have no idea where they are. So what this does is it forces ICE to go look for these people at jobs, at home, out in public. It forces them to conduct raids at workplaces, residential neighborhoods, in stores, or whatever. So in reality, the city of Los Angeles is not going to help ICE do their job. They're going to make it more difficult and more dangerous for ICE to do their job. And then they're going to demonize ICE for actually doing their job. It's quite literally political obstruction disguised as protecting the community. And then Karen Bass was talking about these were people at Home Depot, as if someone couldn't have a job at Home Depot and still be a criminal. How are you the mayor of a city and you don't understand this? Or you do understand it and you're just trying to manipulate public opinion. It's one of the two. Either way, what Democrats are currently doing in LA is top-tier gaslighting. It's gross.
On paying illegal immigrants.
We also are going to have a reinstitution of the Angelino card, something that Mayor Garcetti started during COVID, that will actually provide cash assistance to people. Because, you know, you have people who don't want to leave their homes, who are not going to work, and they are in need of cash.
So if you came here illegally and then you committed another crime, just hang tight. We're going to give you a little cash to hold you over so you don't have to come out of your house.
This is looking insurrectionist. We are going to pay you to break the law. We are not only going to tell you not to follow the federal law, federal immigration law, now we're going to pay you to stay at your home and hide from the authorities that are enforcing laws that are nationwide. If they were against these laws, they should go through the legislative process and try to pass laws that say we're against federal immigration and we want open borders, but they're not doing that. They're paying people to break the law.
Hi everyone, so take a look at this clip and come right back.
You think ICE is not going to show up around voting and polling booths to chill participation? You know that. The National Guard, you know that. Everybody knows what's at stake, so we have to put a stake in the ground and do things differently.
So think about what he said for a second. As many of you know, I was an immigrant in America for 18 years before I became a citizen. And throughout that entire 18-year period, there was never a single time that I showed up at a polling station on election day because I did not have the right to vote in America. So what is Gavin Newsom saying here? There are immigrants who are voting. Now, this is not just about immigrants, because what he is suggesting is that the presence of ICE will stop people from going to the polls. So he's not even talking about legal immigrants, because legal immigrants will have nothing to fear if ICE is around. So basically what he is saying is that illegal immigrants will be deterred from going to the polls. So are illegal immigrants making it a habit to go to the polls on election day in America? I thought Democrats said our elections are the most secure ever, and that not requiring ID was necessary because people that look like me apparently can't get IDs. Is this the reason why they don't want voter IDs? If this is not a confession of how corrupt the voting system in Democrat-controlled states have become, I don't know what will convince you. Our elections must be protected from the corruption of charlatans who continue to clamor about protecting democracy, but will take every opportunity to undermine the process while pretending to be the saviors of the system. As a new American citizen who just a few years ago earned my right to vote, I believe that my vote needs to be protected from being wiped out by illegal immigrants. If this was not a plan, I am calling on ICE to actually show up at polling stations, because citizens are not intimidated by seeing law enforcement. And we cannot continue to allow our...
Newsom is incompetent. He's got a good line of bullshit, but that's about it.
So you're here in Gavin Newsom's backyard.
Yep.
Whole lot going on in the world right now.
Sure.
Why come to LA right now?
Well, first of all, we've wanted to come and check out what's actually going on the ground, show some support to the FBI agents, the National Guardsmen, and the Marines who've been here, I think, bringing peace to what was a very chaotic situation thanks to the leadership of Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. If you really think about what's at stake here is the basic principle of, do we get to enforce federal immigration law when the people's duly elected president says we've got to enforce our borders? And I think obviously the answer is yes. And what you saw in Los Angeles was really, I think, a conspiracy of the mayor, the governor, and a lot of radical left protesters who are going to say, no, we're not going to let people enforce the immigration laws of the United States of America. We in the Trump administration had a different attitude towards that. Obviously, you've seen that immigration happen all over Southern California. I think we've now restored some order to Los Angeles, and thank God that we did, because I think absent President Trump's leadership, you would have seen the city really spiral out of control, which we don't want. I think it's a beautiful city. It's got a lot to offer, but you've got to be able to enforce immigration law.
What's your metric for determining how long the military is going to be here in Los Angeles? Things are calm right now. Are you going to keep them here for a while in case there's more activity? When do you pull them out?
Well, I think what the president says, you got to do this case by case, right? See how this goes, see where we are in a few days, ensure that you don't have the increase in rioting activity. I mean, look, when these riots break out, people can't access basic services. Stores get destroyed. People's economic life is destroyed. And of course, if the riots really get out of control, you have people violently attacked. So we're going to pull out the troops when we feel confident that level of instability is not going to return. But of course, when that happens and when the president makes that decision, of course, it's easy to put people back in if you feel like that rioting starts to ramp up again.
At the beginning of the administration, the idea was worse first, right? Targeting the worst of the worst criminals.
Sure.
You guys are still doing that, but we're also starting to see Home Depots getting hit, car washes, agriculture workers. Is the net widening? Because we hear, there's targets, they want 3,000 arrests a day. So are you guys widening the net in terms of who you're going after now?
Well, first of all, Bill, let's step back and appreciate just the radical success of the Trump administration. Simply through having a president who cared about border enforcement, we've gone from close to 3 million illegal border crossings per year to actually net negative illegal immigration in this country. In other words, we're deporting far more people than are coming in illegally into our country. That's exactly what should be happening. And that really all it required was a president who empowered federal law enforcement to do the job of enforcing our borders. So, yes, you're right. Now, what do we do? What the president has said is we really want to focus on the illegal immigrants who came during the Biden administration, but also we're enforcing everywhere. In other words, the president has said if you are an illegal immigrant into this country, you ought to voluntarily go back and come through the proper channels, because we don't want people who have come into the country illegally just staying here indefinitely. That's not the policy of the Trump administration. We've empowered law enforcement to really enforce the law. Yes, we're focusing on the most violent criminals. We're focusing on people who came here illegally over the Biden administration. But put simply, if you came into the country illegally, if you're not a legal resident of the United States of America, you ought to go back home and come through proper channels.
Our thanks to Bill Malou. President Trump reportedly eyeing Boston for his next immigration crackdown. But as the mayor vows to resist, our next guest says it can't come soon enough.
He managed a Holiday Inn converted into a tax-funded migrant shelter, now shut down, and he blew the whistle about the rampant crime and sex abuse taking place inside, warning it is now spilling into our community.
Yeah, that whistleblower, a former migrant shelter director, John Featherston, joins us now.
Flashback. My name is John Featherston. I'm a former migrant shelter director. It was the biggest mistake of my life. The biggest mistake of my life. The physical violence that I took, the mental torture that I took, the rapes that I saw that never got prosecuted, little girls being raped, and I would personally drive them to the police station, and the state would just cover them up.
You believe Maura Healey should be prosecuted?
I believe Maura Healey should go to jail for the rest of her life for the crimes that she's committed, yes. She's covered up rapes, she's covered up crimes, she's covered up sex trafficking, she's covered up drug dealing. The story that made national headlines, like I said earlier, is the man who impregnated his teenage daughter. You know, that man still has not been held accountable to this day, and it's been over a year. This gentleman, who I do not know or do not recognize, if he lives in the shelter in Marlboro, what he does is he gets free housing every day. He gets free meals every day, but he's also signed up for EBT card benefits, WIC card benefits, probably got a cell phone and a iPad computer through the Obama phone program. So he basically lives for free. And if he receives EBT card and has a family, probably taking in about $3,800 a month in EBT card benefits. His wife is probably making about another $400 a month in WIC cards, women in crisis cards. The shelter, when I was there, provided free diapers, free formula, which I found that they actually ended up, because they were getting benefits, they were actually selling the diapers and formula on the black market, or selling one or more of their EBT cards on the black market. So essentially, people had all of their bills paid for and were bringing in excess of $50,000 a year. So as you saw yourself, a lot of these residents, they have brand new cars. But when they have a doctor's appointment in Boston, or they have a immigration hearing in New Hampshire, you think they use their own car? Nope. They say, oh, I need an Uber. I need a Lyft. The amount of money that we would spend on Ubers and Lyft was well in excess of $100,000 a month.
A month?
A month, yeah. So you were over one. I would say a good estimate was about $1.2 million a year, just for Ubers and Lyfts. Yep.
As I walked up the hill to the actual entrance of the shelter, I stopped this white car driving down and asked to speak to him. What he revealed to me shows immeasurable waste happening inside migrant shelters. Do you live here?
No.
No? Are you an Uber?
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats.
Yes.
Oh, Uber Eats. A nonprofit that's already charging the taxpayer $42 per migrant meal is also ordering Uber Eats to the shelter. Quick recap. $10 million went to a restaurant named Spinelli's to feed migrants for 8 months. The owner of that restaurant refuses to speak to any journalist and is a donor to none other than Governor Maura Healey. And the Mercedes cab company got paid $6.8 million to drive around migrants for only 2 years. Both of those deals were no-bid contracts, meaning no other business had a chance. Elliott got paid over $34 million in taxpayer money to run just 3 shelters. If you look at Elliott's total revenue as well, which is basically just tax money because they're a nonprofit, it went from $135 million in 2021 to $220 million in 2024. They stood to gain tremendously from the migrant crisis. Want to talk where it's not private property?
The whole thing is private property.
The whole thing? You guys got the whole thing? So who does it belong to?
Trespassing.
Can I know who it belongs to? You're gonna call 911 already? Please leave. But let me just say, you want to call 911? I was here for 1 minute. Hey sir, how you doing? We're doing a story on the area. Can I ask you a question?
No.
Oh, so this is clothes for migrants.
I'm answering any questions.
This is nice. So we're paying for all this. Definitely curious as to what was going on with the clothes here. I asked John about the clothes.
This hotel has 2 washers and dryers because, as I said, it was originally set up as a corporate hotel, and there is a huge New England hockey facility down the road down there. So they used to do a lot of business on the weekends. So there was always small laundry facilities, but as the hotel got overtaken by migrant families, there was not enough capacity, and there were fights breaking out over washers and dryers. So the state contracted this company to come in 5 days a week and do everybody's laundry. You put your laundry out by 7 o'clock, it's back by 5 o'clock, and it all comes back folded in these nice bags, and it's free, or the taxpayers of Massachusetts pay for it. I once literally had my boss tell me, I was like, well, how much do you want me to spend on new coats for, the migrants? What's the budget on it? Well, don't worry about what the budget is, just buy what you need. So, they all got very nice coats. They all got very nice hats. They all got very nice, gloves. Anytime, you had a baby, you would get free diapers, you'd get free, formula, free baby wipes, free crib, free stroller, free car seat. Everything is free. I cannot stress the word everything is free. Right. And there was no budget. Just buy it. Amazon, as good as Lyft and Uber had it, Amazon had it 10 times better. Every day I would order tens of thousands of dollars worth of product from Amazon every single day, 7 days a week. A year ago, I would have 10 empty rooms, but the state would still get billed $180 a night for those 10 empty rooms. They would still get billed for the meals in those rooms too. So there is a tremendous amount of waste and or fraud.
Now it's the migrants' turn to pull off an incredibly fraudulent scheme.
Ronald Joseph got an EBT card. The next day, Joseph Ronald got an EBT card in the same room. People were double dipping, triple dipping, getting benefits that they weren't supposed to be getting. What Governor Healy did was actively recruit at the southern border and worked with the Biden administration to send migrants to Massachusetts. Now, it's only an educated guess on my part, but Healy did this because she had ulterior motives. She wanted a job inside the Harris administration, or what she thought was going to be the Biden administration. I've heard some reports it's $3 billion. I will tell you it's closer to $4 billion that she has just done this under the guise of she's helping people, and she's not helping people. Where do you see the legacy media exposing this in Boston? You don't see these stories by the local media. You only see them by the national media. And guys like you, doing the real journalism.
Thank you for joining us this morning, and tell us about your experience.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me. It's good to see all three of you. The experience was just pure chaos. Governor Healy wanted to tell you that everybody was vetted in the shelters. I'm here to tell you that nobody was vetted in the shelters. We had crime. We had domestic violence. We had a story that unfortunately went national news where a migrant impregnated his own daughter.
Oh, wow.
And it took 8 months to even get him arrested, and it wouldn't have gotten arrested if Fox News and the main wire hadn't kept the story in the national spotlight. I mean, overall, it's just chaos. And the fact that the governor of Massachusetts, Maura Healey, is now saying, oh, we're just going to close these shelters and all the chaos will just go away. Well, that's dangerously naive and reckless, and shame on her.
So you said that after, with these shelters being closed down, that you're now seeing the same crimes spill out into the rest of the community.
Well, yeah, when you talk to local law enforcement, you talk to other local officials, if you don't have crime, why do you have to lock up the toothpaste and the deodorant at CVS and Walgreens? If you don't have crime, Why are gangs taking over the tunnels leading to the airports in Boston? Why do you have an uptick in homicides in the city of Boston? Why did you have a man brutally killed in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts this week by somebody that should have already been in custody of somebody? You have residual effects everywhere. There were over 1,000 serious incident reports released by the governor for 2023 and 24. She won't release any information for 2025. Does she just think that those incidents aren't going to happen now that she's closed the shelters? Like I said, that's extremely reckless and naive.
You know, so many horrible things have happened to the American people over the last, 6, 7 years that, and one of them, probably the most egregious, was the opening of this border. I personally twice went to migrant shelters, and it was treated as if this was some sort of, prison or nuclear facility that nobody could enter into. The police were called on me. In one case, I broke in. I saw a wanted sign by an elevator. I mean, obviously bad things were happening inside of there. And I wonder, you're a whistleblower. Why weren't our Congress members, why weren't our senators saying, darn it, I'm coming in here. We're paying for this. We need to see what's happening. I mean, it's great that you're a whistleblower now, but when it was going on, even the press could not make it into there.
Rachel, you're 100% right. If you would have come to my shelter, I would have been instructed to call the police on you, unfortunately. I've told the story a couple times. I actually ran into the governor at the Army-Navy game that was played at Gillette Stadium like 2 years ago. And I literally talked to her in the end zone and said, hey, listen, I've got some real problems in the shelter, and I need you to help me. And she's like, oh, call my office on Monday. Well, I called her office on Monday. I called her office on Tuesday. I called her office on Wednesday. She never came. So I started to reach out to other elected officials, and everybody told me, John, this is a great thing. It's a great thing. And I'm like, yes, most of the migrant people are good people, and they're here to just live a better life. But some people are not, and you need to come in and find out what's going on. And they just totally ignored it.
Yeah, willful ignorance. Unless we get to the bottom of this, it will happen again. So we really appreciate you coming forward, John. It's imperative for our future. Thank you so much for joining us.
As you just posted, quote, wow, Mayor Muriel Bowser of D.C. has become very popular because she's worked with me and my great people in bringing crime down to virtually nothing in D.C. Her statements and actions were positive instead of others like Pritzker, Westmore, Newscomb, and the 5% approval rated mayor of Chicago, who spend all their time trying to justify violent crime. The president's police surge in the nation's capital is just into its fourth week. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser says even she appreciates the federal assistance, though she says she does oppose the increase in ICE and National Guard presence. The D.C. government reports a 44% drop in violent crime during the federal surge compared to the same stretch last year. The president highlighted reports of several murders in Chicago last week and says he'll surge federal law enforcement next to Chicago if Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker fails to get crime under control there.
Why do you think they're doing this? Why would they be bringing in these tens of thousands of people, 20 buses a day, 1,000 more per day? Why would they be doing this? And what's your message?
The only reason that I can see that they would be doing this is to replace us. And we say Trump 2024 because Trump is the only one who's going to do something about this and partner with all of America. This is where all of America has got to come together and put a stop to this. We have to send these people back where they come from, or this is going to explode violently. It's going to explode on multiple fronts. And the mayor and this governor doesn't care. And since they don't care, then we must go red. We must link up with all of America, and we care, and we have to do something about it. We're coming for every elected official that didn't step up, and all those that supported this mass, wipe out of our communities. We're coming for you. By the time Trump gets ready to run in November, Chicago is going to look like a sea of red. When that Democratic National Convention get here, you're going to see so many red T-shirts that you're going to think you're in Texas.
Enough is enough. We just can't give it away to foreign nationals. No other country's going to allow us to come in and do the same thing that's happening here.
You have American citizens of African-American descent that have built this country and built the great city of Chicago. They are the broad shoulders that have built this city, and they are being disrespected by the Biden regime, the entire uniparty, the globalists, because now they're forcing illegal alien invaders into a city that doesn't have the resources to care for its citizens in healthcare, in education, in police protection, in economics, in anything. And now they have to bear the brunt to it. And they're too gutless. These progressive whites that run this deal are too gutless to have them in there, just like they're not in the Upper East Side of New York or the Upper West Side. They're not out by Northwestern University.
It's something in their minds that makes them believe that they'll do this to us and we do nothing in return. This is not just for Chicago for us. We've reached all across the country to send them a message. We're going to flip America red. We're going to send the strongest message to the Democratic Party that Black America, Black Chicago has ever seen. Black America is about to rise up now that we are the mothers and fathers. We're saying Trump 2024 across America. And we asked Trump to come to Chicago, come here and walk these streets with us. And we'll put thousands behind him as he walks the streets. And that's a fact, that's a promise.
But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.